Hi, Bashar. This is my first time, so...
Yes, this is our first time with you as well. Please be gentle.
Great. Well, the reason I came was to ask you a question. I've lately had a lot of doubt. You know,
That's why I asked you if you were all right.
Yeah. So
what is it that you doubt?
Well, I have a lot of lack in my life, like financial problems.
A lot of lack.
Yeah.
An abundance of lack.
Yeah. Yeah.
How paradoxical. How creative. How imaginative. How inventive. An abundance of lack.
That's it. Yeah.
Now, listen. This is not just a play on words.
Mm-hmm.
You are abundant. But you are creating lack with your abundance. It has nothing to do with not being abundant. It has everything to do with what you have been taught to use your abundance to create. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
This is a profound difference. And it all begins with exactly the kind of example we just gave you. It begins with redefining the definitions you have been taught. Let's go back to the word doubt. Most people on your planet have been taught that the word doubt is defined as a lack of trust. There's that word lack again. You lack trust. You doubt. You follow me?
Yeah.
From our perspective, doubt is not a lack of trust. Would you like to know what our definition of doubt is?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. I will share it with you. Are you paying attention?
Yes.
All right. You have an abundance of attention?
Yes.
All right. Doubt. A 100% unswerving, absolute, and total trust in a definition that doesn't work for you.
Okay.
Understand the profound difference. The difference is no one ever doesn't trust. You always have 100% trust. Trust is not something you have to learn how to do. It's innate. It's automatic. It's second nature. It is built into you. You cannot not trust. The question is not an issue of whether you lack trust. The question is, what definition of reality have you placed your trust in? Because that's the reality you'll get. Because there is no reality except your definition of it. That's what reality is. Is this making any sense at all so far?
It's making sense so far, yeah.
All right. Please understand that this is not a discussion about philosophy. This is a discussion of physics. Everything that you call physical reality is a vibratory reflection of energy. What we are talking about is based on what we call the third absolute law of creation. What you put out is what you get back. Physical reality is literally like unto a mirror. Whatever it is you're giving off is the reflection that comes back. What you give off, the vibration you give off, that determines what you get back, is the product of the strongest definition that you have been taught to buy into about reality, because it is your definition, your consciousness belief system structure that creates the frequency you operate at and creates, therefore, the frequency that is reflected back. Is this making some sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right, so let's examine your definitions. We have already, to some degree, begun by illustrating how certain definitions can be altered. Again, doubt does not have to be seen as a lack of trust. You can start right now by knowing that you do not, in any way, shape, or form, lack trust. And even though we may have, to some degree, be having a little bit of fun with you when we said you had an abundance of lack, there is truth in the idea that lack is only one of the experiences you can create with the abundance you innately have. You are all abundant creators. It's just that on your planet, for a variety of reasons, over generations, you have been taught to use your abundance to make it appear as if you don't have any. In the same way that many of you have been taught that you only use about 10% of your brains, when in fact you use 100%, but you're using 90 to make it seem as if you're only using 10. It's your definitions that are doing that. Not that it actually is that way. It's the way you look at things. It's the way you have been taught to perceive things. It's the meaning you have been taught to give to what actually in life are nothing more than fundamentally a set of absolutely neutral, meaningless situations and props. But the automatic meaning you have been taught to automatically give to a situation is what automatically, instantaneously determines the effect you feel back from that situation. And that reinforces the definition that created the reason you gave it that meaning to begin with, and you get caught up in a self-perpetuating cycle, a self-fulfilling prophecy, an endless loop of spiraling creation in a direction that you may not really prefer. You follow along so far?
Yeah.
So, the idea of abundance requires some redefinition on your part. The idea of lack and trust requires some redefinition on your part. Abundance, fundamentally, we are not invalidating the idea that on your planet we recognize that what you call physical money is one of the ways that abundance can be represented, but it is only one of the ways. It is equal to any other way. And abundance, by definition, is really nothing more than the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Period. Doesn't always require that money be there. But if you relax your definition of what you think you need to represent abundance by, and know that you are abundant, and abundantly creating your reality in whatever fashion you have been taught to create it, then you can relax the definitions you have that insist that abundance can only be recognized in one form, and may actually be capable of giving yourself an opportunity to see all the other ways in which abundance actually does come to you, and allow circumstances and situations to begin to unfold in your life using more of the varieties of forms of abundance rather than just narrowing it down and saying, I will not know that I am abundant if I don't see it in exactly just this one way or two ways. Are you following along?
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm in debt, like $40,000, and I would like...
what? So what? So what?
Well, I don't want to be struggling.
Then stop struggling. I will put the horse back before the cart. I understand this may be difficult, and it is all right. We understand that some of these principles are a little bit new to some people on your planet, and that's all right. But I guarantee they will work for you. The point simply being is that if you weren't struggling to begin with, you most likely would not necessarily have created a situation where you find yourself $40,000 in debt. You follow?
Yes.
And therefore, in that the creation of the $40,000 creates in your mind a debt, it simply amplifies and reinforces, not creates, amplifies and reinforces the struggle already going on in you that the $40,000 has now revealed to you in terms of its existence within you. So, the first step, this may be difficult, this may be easy, it is dependent on your definitions as to which it will be for you. But the first step we would suggest is to relax your idea that this $40,000 that you owe, is that correct?
Yeah.
That this $40,000 in any way, shape, or form represents any kind of a negative scenario. Render it neutral. Flatten it. Devoid of any meaning one way or the other. It's just a circumstance. It's a neutral set of props on a stage. That's it. You have walked into the theater, the curtain goes up, the program says that the opening scene is someone standing on the stage pondering the idea that they owe $40,000. But this means nothing yet. No life has been breathed into the scene by the actors yet. You are not told as an audience how to interpret this circumstance yet. So give it no meaning. Zero. Suspend yourself and go with the flow. And in that suspension, make this realization. It is your prerogative to infuse the circumstance, being neutral, with any meaning you so desire. It can be general, it can be specific, but we would suggest that you allow it to be positive. We have given you one small example of how the idea of owing $40,000 can begin to seem like a positive thing. Number one, as we have said, we will reiterate, it has now shown you, the fact that you're in this situation has shown you that you have already been in struggle. And thus then this is a positive thing. You have been made aware of an energy and a definition that exists within you that you don't prefer to have. So in that sense, being in $40,000 worth of debt has actually pointed something out to you that you now have the ability to change because you're aware of the fact that it required definitions and energy and states of being to be in that kind of a circumstance, to wind up in that kind of a circumstance. And now it can teach you how to be in other states of being so that you will not have to create that kind of a circumstance again. The second you remove the negative charge from the situation, you will actually, I guarantee it, begin to see the situation repair itself. Okay. You may not be able to tell how, but that's exactly the point. If you're not already in the state of the reality you prefer, you cannot in any way, shape, or form, this is simple physics, you are incapable of perceiving the circumstances and opportunities that could come along that would help change the state. You have to be in the state of the reality you prefer, joyful, full of conviction, knowing this serves you in a positive way, with absolute certainty. You have to be in that certainty before it's possible for you to see how an opportunity might come along that you could take advantage of that would actually change the situation for you in a positive way. That is putting the cart and the horse in the proper orientation. Make sense?
Yeah.
Do you think you can begin to do this? Do you think you can begin to understand that you are a trusting being? Do you think you can begin to understand that you do not have lack, except in that you have an abundance of what you have created to seem like lack? Can you allow yourself to begin to understand how to use the circumstance, starting with it as neutral, and know, even though you may not have an empirical understanding of how this would be so right now, know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it will serve you positively if you let it? You have to ask yourself these and honestly answer whether or not you can do this. But if you can, begin to behave this way and know these things for certain, you will, I guarantee it, begin to see a change. Because your reality is only a reflection of what you know at any given moment to be true. This is a complex issue because all of you have created so much complexity within your definitional belief system structure. It does require that you really get in touch with what all those beliefs are you have about the different circumstances and situations in your life, and most importantly, what kind of beliefs you have about yourself.
Right.
So, once you really start to get in touch with those definitions and start to redefine them in a way that is more harmoniously aligned with the person you know you are, that in your heart of hearts you know you are, that the creator you know you are, once you start to harmonize with that, you will see things change, because the physical universe has not got a mind of its own and can't contradict you. When you give off a certain vibration, it cannot give you any other choice but that vibration reflected back.